Just a quick note before we begin. If you're listening to this on Spotify, be warned, they compress the hell out of our recordings. If you want to get the full De Vermis Mysterious experience, sign up for our Patreon, where we have high-quality FLAC files of every show. You also get a bunch of goodies, like pre- and post-game chat recordings, illustrated write-ups of our scenarios, music and ambiences from the pod, and of course, you can speak to us on Discord. If you want to support us, do so via Patreon, or leave us a positive review on iTunes. Hello, welcome to The Vermis Mysterious, the podcast from Yoggoth. When I sat down with Sean and Brent to record this game, they had no clue what they'd be playing. So I told them three things. The game would be based on a feeling, the dark ambience of gloom. They would be playing infant brothers. And finally, that they lived alone with their mother. To begin, I read a prepared monologue, and the story unfolded from there. Aside from that feeling which I had found on my misty morning walks, the monologue was my only preparation. After years of playing together, I knew that together we could weave a story from that misty morning feeling. This may not sound like a game, but what could be more playful than probing the darkest depths of the imagination?
Most mornings, a cloud sits in the valley. At night, it gathers on the tall hills surrounding, then seeps slowly down before first light. Most days it fades away around midday, slowly thinning, revealing first the pointed tip of the turret, then the slanted roof of the house. Then it drains from the thick green of the surrounding trees, and the valley is uncovered. The house is tall. A dense moss builds up at the base of the walls. Needles, leaves, and tree grime coat the windows. It is morning again. The cloud turns the windows white and the shadows soft. You sit quietly, chewing porridge. The taste so familiar, you don't notice it anymore. Mother slices her spindly root vegetables and fills a line of jars. In a few weeks they'll become cloudy and grey, but the roots will be transformed. They will take on a sweetness and be flavor for Mother's soups. You mustn't leave them too long in the cupboard, as they turn too sweet, then sour after a time. Sometime later, you run up the curving stairs of the tower to the circular room above. It is bright in here. There are windows all around, but one day you looked right up and saw the inside of the conical tower top was dark. Scattered around the floor are spools of twine, small scissors, and 1,000 wooden beads. You string the beads into long snaking chains, and into small people with arms and legs, and bigger beads for heads.
What have you named this one?
This one's Felix, brother.
Felix, huh?
Yes, big brother. My stomach's full porridge. When do you think we're gonna have some beans?
When we have them, stop being so impatient. Mom's doing her best to try and get us fed, okay?
I don't want to eat no roots no more.
Well, roots are gonna have to be what we have. It's all we can have. You know this, come on.
Big brother, I don't like it when it tastes so sour.
When the cloud has cleared enough for you to see the top of the big tree, you are called. Boys! 3 small plates are set around the table. A platter of preserved things, cheese, a few boiled eggs in the center. Mother picks apart a clump of coiled cabbage.
Mother, do I have to eat this? The cabbage smells awful.
She looks at you.
Can I just go upstairs and read my book?
She looks at you for a long moment.
Read your book? You don't know how to read?
But I'm trying to learn.
I taught you the letters. A is for ant, B is for bird, C is for cat. D?
D for the dinosaur?
No. D is for dog. Now eat.
Okay, Mum. I sort of get a fork and put one of the clumps of cabbage in my mouth and start to chew it.
I wince, chewing the cabbage, but despite the expression and the horrible smell of the food, thanks, Mother, for the food. Tastes wonderful.
She looks expectantly over at you.
They're delicious, Mother.
Now, I think this would be a good time, actually, to tell me your names, if you have any.
Terence.
Jared.
Well, Jared, you see how Terence has cleaned his plate?
But
It's all right, Mother. I'll clean Jared's plate for him.
Thank you, Terence.
It's okay. Why don't you go and talk with Felix for a bit?
Okay. As I jump off the table and scuttle up back up the tower to my bearded man.
Mother watches you as you go, and then she looks back at Terence.
Will you clothe him and wash him too? He'll never learn to do anything on his own if you keep pampering him.
You gotta take it step at a time sometimes, Mom.
I told you not to call me that. Call me Mother.
Sorry, Mother.
All right, well, I must get on with my preserves.
Very well. I'll go see that Jared cleans his own plate next time. Thank you again for your dinner, Mother.
She turns her back and goes back to what she was doing before. You run back up the stairs of the tower.
Yeah.
Terence, you see Jared standing at the window and looking out over the garden below. The cloud has cleared enough now so that you can see around, and usually at this time of day, a whistling wind sets in and batters the house, which has been sort of warped out of shape after many years of this treatment. You see the big tree, then smaller trees surrounding, and you see how it grows dark down towards a stream in the very bottom of the valley. You look up and you see the tops of the hills surrounding. It's quite a good view from up here in the tower. And you see spots of light miles up on the tops of those hills where the others live. The others that you've seldom seen. You seem to remember once going up there into the town with Mother. You seem to remember seeing people with strange faces, and they looked at you and smiled. You wondered why. That's all you can remember of that time. Jared, you look out at the big tree. You see the way it moves in the wind. You've seen it 1,000 times, and yet it always makes you shiver. You turn around, and when you notice Terence coming into the room.
When do you think we can go outside and play?
When Mother says we can, Jared.
What do you think lies behind the mountains? See there, Terence, where the light shines so bright?
It's best not to think about such things, Jared. We have a roof over our head, we have food on our plates, and full bellies.
Yes, but brother, that tree's not swaying the way it usually does.
How does it usually sway, Jared?
There's something strange, how it wriggles in my mind. Do you see it?
As I point towards the eerie-looking tree,
I place my hand on Felix's head and kind of scruff his hair, staring off into the tree.
You remember when you were younger, you would climb the tree. You couldn't get very far up, but over the years, you gradually managed to get further and further up until you reached its interior. It was hard to get there. The branches are slippery and coated in a green slime. When you got into the center of that tree, all the light from outside was diminished. You felt safe and secure. You were never able to get Jared that far up, at least not yet. And sometimes, when Mother isn't watching, you make your way up into the center of the big tree and sit there, out of view from even the birds.
Brother, do you think we could climb the tree like we did back when we were younger? When Mother's not watching, she's been really mean lately.
Mother's under a lot of stress, Jared. I look to see Jared still holding Felix in his hand as he talks to me. He looks up with large eyes and an innocent expression on his face as he asks, "All right, maybe when Mother's gone to sleep we can go there, You can climb it again? Maybe
Yes.
this time you'll get to the top,
Oh, yes. Can I bring Felix too?
Felix can come as well.
I sort of pretend to walk the bearded man across the windowsill and
Very well. That night, you sit in your room. It has a tall roof. You lie on your beds, just separated by about 3 feet of floor space, and Mother sits at the back of the room in a high-backed chair. She plays her flute. The sound grates upon your ears. It seems over the years it's been getting more and more out of tune. Maybe it's her ears that have been failing her. And yet she plays. She thinks it soothes you to sleep, but really you just pretend to be asleep. And only when she's gone do you really sleep. Tonight, Jared, you see light coming in through the windows at the top of the tower, and you see 1,000 colorful beads, different sorts, some you've never seen before, and golden twine. You see snakes, creatures made of these beads all around. You are struck by the awe and wonder of the sight. You see colors you haven't seen before. The ground is covered completely in the beads. You sit in them, and then you see them move. You see them form a shape. A man. You can see its head is a collection of the brightly colored beads, the two black ones as eyes. Looks at you, wraps its arms around you. Then you wake up to your brother shaking you awake.
Jared. Jared.
Brother, what is it?
Said you wanted to go to the tree, didn't you? Come on. Shh.
Okay.
Wake mother up. Come on.
Let's go. Let me quickly grab Felix.
You tiptoe down the stairs. You know which stairs make the loudest creaks. Try and avoid them. Jared, you step on one step towards the end of the flight. The wrong step. An almighty creak breaks out and echoes through the house. Terence,
Shh. Put my hand over his mouth.
Sorry, brother.
One step at a time, Jared.
Sorry.
I listen out, trying to keep my breathing as quiet as it possibly can.
you hear, to your relief, the horrible grating snores from Mother's room.
Brother, it's okay. She's fast asleep.
Alright. With me. Follow my footsteps, okay? 1, 2, 3.
You make your way to the door, find it locked.
I know, big brother. What are we going to do now?
Maybe mother heard us talking before. Wait. You can't tell this to anybody, Jared, okay?
I nod.
Another one of our little secrets, okay?
Yes, big brother. Yes.
Alright. I'm going to take Jared to a tiny dusted window, corners covered with spider webs. Okay. Now, you just gotta turn the latch, okay? You go on my shoulders. I'll lift you up, and then you jump out the window, okay? I'll be right behind you. Now, come on, get on my shoulders.
I climb up top of his shoulders and sort of clamber, trying to reach up onto this latch.
You climb up and, you open the latch, you open the window, you brush the cobwebs aside. The cool air blows in.
Come on, big brother, come on. I want to show you the colorful bearded man. Come on.
As I sort of skip towards where I saw this.
Right, Jared, come on, big brother.
You walk across the garden towards the big tree, and you see the garden as you have many times before, but in this aspect of night, it is different. It's almost like being in an entirely different place, or viewing the world through a different pair of eyes. You see the great tree has taken on a different form in the moonlight. The moon is just a slither. It makes the tree a looming black silhouette. You go up to it. You remember playing around the roots of the tree, the twisted roots, the little gullies and holes. You remember when you were so small you could hide yourself in those roots. As you walk up closer, you see first little roots coming out from the earth. You imagine underneath the earth the way it must look. Those thousands of spindly limbs. You wonder how deep it goes down, for even the strongest winds can't blow over the big tree.
Brother,
As I sort of stamp on the ground near the roots of the tree.
what do you think is under here? Underneath the floor?
When I was your age, Jared, I remember thinking there were little dwarf men that hid under the tree, and they would plant the seeds for more roots to come, and every root that would grow out would come out into the ground would make the tree taller and taller.
Brother, don't be silly. Dwarfs don't exist.
Well, I suppose not.
Do you think the names that we carved a year ago are still in the tree?
Yeah. Let's
Up
take
there?
a look, shall we?
As I sort of jump up and point to the branch up.
It's too dark to see, but Terence, you wipe your hand across where you think they might be, and you think you can feel them in the bark. I think you can feel the names carved there.
Still there,
Do you think it will be there forever?
as long as this tree stands.
You remember last year when the tree changed. You didn't notice it, but slowly, over the weeks and months, it was changing its form. And then one day, there was a wind, and it blew 1,000 droppings down from the tree. Small pods. You remember vaguely when that was. But, Jared, you're not sure if that was real or a dream.
Brother, has this tree always looked like this? Even before I was born?
Tree is a tree, Jared.
But every night it appears to me in a different way,
Appears to.
in a different shape, brother.
Oh, that is just the wind going against the branches.
But what about all the falling pods? What happens to them?
They go into the ground.
And form more trees like this?
Some of them might. Some of them don't.
Terence, you look up. Back to the house. And in the thin moonlight, you see what you think you see. The outline of Mother in her night dress, standing at her window and looking out at the tree.
Jared, go behind the tree now, okay?
Why?
Just, we talked about this. Do what I say.
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay, Terence. Don't say it like that.
Don't worry, Felix will be with you.
Okay.
I look at Mother's figure in the window. I am frozen with fear. But I remember I'm the older brother. If it's not a duty to myself, it is a duty to Jared. I squat down, kind of play with the dirt with my fingers and continue to look at Mother's figure in the window.
You see, after a time, she turns around. You can see it looks like she goes back to bed. This is after a long time. Both of you have been waiting out here in the cold for a while. The mist starts to descend and the air thickens. You think that from Mother's window, now the mist is thickened enough that you could probably get back in without her seeing you.
So Terence, we're going to climb the tree? Like you said we would, big brother?
I look back to where I saw Mother's figure. I take my little jacket off and wrap it around Jared's shivering body.
What's wrong, big brother? What's wrong?
Nothing, Jared, nothing. It's okay. Yeah, only once though. But you have to be quick, okay?
Yes, I promise, big brother, I'll be real quick, you'll see.
I put his feet on my shoulder, similar to how I helped him get out the window. Go on, just like I told you. Right arm first. Think of your hands and your feet, not so much with your eyes.
I sort of wrap my hands around the first branch.
It's very slippery, but you manage to cling on. You're stronger than you were when you tried it before, and you do manage to get up one branch and another. Then, Terence, you look and you see perhaps he's getting too far up.
Jared.
Just a little longer, brother.
Don't go too far up.
Just to the spot where we used to look over the valley. You know the same spot.
I'm going to climb the tree up with him.
You climb up with him, take him up a few more branches, and then you sit in the darkness. It is quiet in here, cold. There's a very gentle breeze which pulls the clouds down from the top of the valley to the bottom where you are. And you are encased in darkness, the thick leaves of the big tree blocking out that last slither of moonlight.
Wow, it's been a very long time since we've been up here, hasn't it, Terence?
You almost forgot how high the tree got and how slippery.
And dark. But I don't know, brother. Makes me feel a bit almost safe. Mother could never see us from here.
No, she can't.